I see Coach Mack Brown making his way on over here, so we're going to pass him the headset and get ready to talk a little Tar Heel football with the head coach. Coach, first of all, thank you for jumping on and talking with us.
Thank you.
Is it just, your first 5 years in Chapel Hill, Sam Howell, Drake May, that just got a little boring for you, right? You want to get the juices flowing with an old school training camp competition at the quarterback spot?
Well, I think we're so lucky now we got 3 good ones.
3. One of my questions was going to be, is it a 2-guy competition or a 3-guy competition?
Well, it's 2 right now because Jacoby Criswell was not here for spring practice, so he's behind. And Max has only had the spring, and Connor's had 2 years of this now. So I really feel like that we'll see how Jacoby does. We've got to tell him, you've got to jump out.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to earn extra reps till we see that you're in this mix, because we got to figure out, how do you prepare to get ready for Minnesota, and how much practice time do you have? How do you get them in game type situations? And I'm excited about that. But the truth is, nobody knew who Sam was. He was a good high school player, but he started the first game he was ever in Chapel Hill. Drake wasn't the starter till 10 days before the opening game, because he and Jacoby were competing, and nobody was excited about that. So I think we've got 3 really talented guys, which most people do not have in that room anymore with transfers.
It is very tough.
So we do. And one of those 3 or 2 of those 3 are going to be really good, and I'm excited about it.
Is 10 days about where you feel comfortable? How close, is there a date where you got to make a decision whether it emerges or not, because you need to know who that guy is and start rallying behind him?
Yeah, I don't like to do it on game day for the first game. I don't think that's fair to the backup.
Mm-hmm.
I think or the starter didn't have enough time to talk to the team as a starter, and he didn't have enough time to talk to the media. So I want to do it between a week and 10 days, because I want him to be the starter with that team and with the media before we get to game day.
Is part of it a little bit more comforting knowing that there's a lot of quarterbacks out there that can turn and hand it to Amari and Hampton about 25 times, and whoever ends up in that job has that life preserver in the backfield with them?
Absolutely. And I really feel good about our offensive line. We lost 4 starters last year, but I'm liking what I see. These guys are tough. They're athletic. We've done a really good job of rebuilding the offensive line. So I think we can run the ball. Now, people are going to stack the box because they don't know about our quarterbacks, and they do know about Omarion, but that's going to make it easier to throw the ball. And we got good tight ends and good wide receivers as well.
You brought up the offensive line. A lot of portal movement in the offensive line this year. Was that somewhere you knew you were going to have to improve going into the offseason?
We did. It was interesting that with COVID, some of these guys had 6 years. And
we talked to a bunch of 24-year-olds, 6th-year seniors.
It's amazing
this week,
to me. And I think it's too long. Because what do you end up studying? You run out of stuff to take. How many graduate degrees can you get? And also, they need to go on with their lives. So if you go to the NFL, or let's get a job, because you just don't need to keep playing, and it keeps some of the younger ones from playing. And we also have had 3 offensive line coaches in 5 years. That makes recruiting tough, because these guys are hard to recruit. Offensive and defensive linemen, other than quarterbacks, have gotten to be the hardest guys to recruit, not only out of high school, but in the portal. And then you have to project them out of high school, so you wait 3 years, and nobody has any patience anymore. So it's the portal's gotten really expensive for linemen on both sides of the ball.
Is it just because, and we're talking with Mack Brown, head coach UNC, is it just because everybody needs so many offensive linemen and defensive linemen? What makes those positions more difficult than, say, wide receiver?
It's so hard to project guys that big who are playing against little guys in high school. So you miss on more of them, number one. And the second thing is, there aren't as many big people out there that can run and play. So, and people probably miss more on offensive linemen than any other position, because they're the big guy and he may get too heavy, or if you take a thin one, he may never get big enough. So there's a lot of question marks in their recruiting. And then we've seen average or poor offensive linemen go in the portal and get paid. It's amazing to us that sometimes we're saying they're taking him. I said, yeah,
how much?
And they're paying him. That's it. So they're hard to find, and that's why I'm so proud that our coaches have been able to piece this thing together.
I want to quickly talk about defense. I mean, you mentioned guys going on to the NFL. Cedric Gray goes on to the NFL. Power Eccles seems to be ready to be that next big name. What do you expect to see from Power, who's joined you here at ACC Kickoff, somewhere around here?
Power's sitting here right behind us, and Power's smart, tough, driven. We've played him too much. We played Cedric too much, so we've got to get somebody else in the game and develop some younger linebackers. But he's the leader. He's the captain. They all love him. He brings it every day in practice, in games, and he will be a huge difference for us.
How do you have that self-discipline, or do you lean on, say, Chip Lindsey? Because, right, you're playing someone too much. As a play caller, I'd imagine, again, somebody like Omarion Hampton, it's really nice to just, all right, let's give it to him again. He's been successful. Let's give it to him again. Is there a number that's too much for Omarion?
Yeah, and I thought we probably did that last year. He wants to carry it every play. And then Caleb Hood got hurt and couldn't play anymore. And then British Brooks sprained an ankle. So here I am. They're wanting to take Omarion out of the game. I'm saying, no, leave him in. He said, we're at the 20. I said, he can go 80. The rest of them can't. So, but Larry Porter and I have to do a great job of making sure that we've got a good mix of health and keeping them fresh, so we won't have the drop-off at the end of the year that we've had.
We're talking with Omarion right after you stand up here. Is there's some kind of insight, a good question you can give me that'll get a good answer out of Omarion?
Yes, he's very quiet. He's very shy. Ask him how he's enjoyed talking to the media today. Because I think he's really pumped about this. He had so many people tampering with him and recruiting him to leave. I think a great question is you obviously had a lot of places that wanted you to go. Why'd you stay?
All right.
Because I've heard that answer, and it's really a cool answer at a time where so many people are just taking money and leaving and not doing what might be best for their future.
Well, you're pretty good at radio also, because that's the best tease for our next interview. So, Coach, we appreciate you for hanging out with us, and we're going to go talk to Omarion.
Thank you.